to. Hello, everybody. My name.
Whoops. Sorry. Forgot to turn the sound off.
Boomer.
My fault. Sorry. Why is it still doing it? Okay, there we go.
Okay. Sorry about that, everybody, but it happens. Listen, my name is Bruce. This is Janet from another planet over here to my right on screen, and we're doing our Monday night stream for A Girl, a Guy, and a Movie. Today, we're going to discuss the 2010 action romp, The Expendables. And this is a movie that Janet selected, and I went to go see this film in the theaters about 3 days after the opening weekend. Janet, what was it that made you want to talk about this film?
Well, after we watched I watched the movie, the Leon, what was it?
The Professional.
Yeah, The Professional. I keep saying wanting to say The Offender, but after we watched that, I don't know why, something about that movie made me think about Jason Statham in this movie. I don't know why, but so that popped in my head, and I thought, well, that's a good movie. I think I want to let's watch The Expendables. So that's why I picked it. And plus, it's packed with action, and I was really in the mood to watch something that had a lot of gunfire and explosions and sweaty guys running around.
When we went to go see this movie in theaters, this was one of those films that I wasn't really prepared for the level of testosterone that the movie has. It really
packed.
It almost exceeds the level of the Predator movie from 1987.
Mm-hmm.
It almost does. It's just missing Sven Thorson and Billy, the Indian tracker. And if it would have done that, then it would have exceeded it. But Sven Thorson, I think, puts a cap on any movie and elevates it, because he was really integral to the background operations of Predator. But this movie is a 2010 release, and it takes a bunch of 80s action stars 15, 20 years out of their prime. And it turns into a pyrotechnic extravaganza.
It wasn't just action stars, because you had a couple of ex-wrestlers in it.
Yeah.
So they weren't really action stars. They were like pro wrestlers that were no longer pro wrestlers. Well, maybe not. I mean, I thought Stone Cold was still a wrestler when that came out, but I'm not 100%, because he was tip-top looking shape to me. But it was good. I just loved it. But Jason Statham's the reason why I wanted to watch it again this time. The first time I watched it, I just wanted to see some people get their ass kicked or whatever. And I thought it would be good, especially when it's coming from a bunch of older guys. So,
When me and Chuck sat in the theater, this movie, sorry about that. Just program your Monday nights, 7:30, start orbiting the channel or have a tab open. And once you hear my melodic radio voice in play, then we know to devote 80% attention over here. Thank you. This movie hit me really hard back in the day, and it really put a lot of things in perspective, because the 2010s were starting, and America wasn't doing that great at the time. We had just elected the most the darkest melanin content president the year before, gave him the job, and things were kind of different around where I was living. But when this movie hit in 2010, it was almost like this was exactly what was needed at the cinema to give a green light so we could have these movies come out where you have all the older guys getting their play, they're getting action, they're getting the ability to start really paying for that second mortgage or that third wife. They get a chance to do all these Hollywood-esque things, which if you guys know people in Hollywood, you understand what I'm saying, because usually somebody gets married in their early 20s, they stay married till 27, 29, and then they have their second marriage and new kids come out in their 30s, and they try going for TV shows and some sort of regular life. And then in their mid 40s to 50s, you watch all your favorite stars start going through like their panic mode. And they buy like a sports car and divorce their wife who loved them through thick and thin and watch them get through rehab. And this entire...
Or a younger bimbo.
Oh,
The
God.
giant hooters.
Hey, I feel personally attacked here.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like they go through a not menopause for men, but what would you call it?
I know it's stupid.
No, midlife crisis. It's like they're going through their midlife crisis and they just feel like they need to jumpstart their career or do something different to get young people to start wanting to watch them again because they are not getting the movies they used to get. But see, by this time, when a woman hits their 30s or 40s, they're already passed over. Because you'll have a guy that's in his 60s in a movie with a 20-year-old wife being his opposite, instead of a woman that should be his wife in the movie that's, closer to his age, which would make it more realistic. So, I wouldn't get a part at all. I mean, I'm just already over the hill, way over the hill for Hollywood. I mean, I definitely wouldn't get cast. I'd be the lady, where's the beef lady, if I was in a music video right now. You know what I mean? Where's the beef?
You say
Well,
that.
I'm just saying, because they're a dime a dozen. They're just, believe me, there's bimbos everywhere ready to suck whatever they got to get the job. So,
And thank God.
and I'm not one of them. And when you have a few wrinkles, that's just what happens. But that's just the way it is. Men want to see hard young booty. That's what men want to pay for. They want to see blood. They want to see fighting, and when their weapons going off, they want to see motorcycles, pickup trucks,
I disagree.
jeans on a young 20-year-old blonde. That's just the way it is. So that's just what guys are looking for. Now the women aren't much better. They're looking for hot bods on guys, even if they're older, but they still want them to look, hot.
There's a lady in this movie. I'm going to totally destroy your argument here. There's a 40-year-old, not 40, 35-year-old Charisma Carpenter, not looking her freshest, I might add, because I used to watch all the Joss Whedon shows, and I know where she started. And this Charisma Carpenter looks like she's in her 40s, needing another glass of wine. Yeah, Bowser's like, I love it all except for woke trash media. Well, yeah, that's our entire goal here.
But she maybe looks like it because they're trying to make her look ragged and worn out in the movie, but she's not in her 40s. How old is she in this movie?
She's got that. She was like 35 or 40 when she's in her 30s. 78. 40. She's 42. Or getting no, my bad. She's 37 in this film. She's just a little younger than me. But she's got like the atypical 50-year-old male that's in really good shape, and you ask him, "Hey man, what you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I just kind of started a keto diet, and it's working pretty well, and life is pretty good. And I started going to the gym and running every day, and just playing a little bit of basketball." That motherfucker every morning at 4 in the morning, he's injecting his ass with some sort of steroid, pounding some blue pills, and then grabbing the fucking testosterone, getting those T pills that he needs off of the late night USA Network commercials with Ron Jeremy and some coke whore, which we'll never see again.
Yeah,
And
because he needs the pills because he's shooting up with all the testosterone and stuff, steroids to bulk up.
yeah, he's trying to bulk
So
up, and
it
he's
makes your
he's in it
wiener
right.
go like this, but makes your muscles look like that.
His shoulders, every Hollywood star, like they've got a workout that works. It's like a script for a Marvel movie. It's the same workout for all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do big on shoulders, do big on lats, and you'll get great. Don't be eating breads. And they eventually send over a guy to monitor your food intake, and you look fairly decent after about 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You're film ready in 10. And the guy that Charisma Carpenter was fucking behind Jason Statham's back because he was always gone. He looks like one of those guys that is the atypical target for the testosterone pills that up late at night. He looks for
the
looks like that
commercial.
pile of shit. I
Yeah.
just eat salmon and I work out. I play a little basketball. I run.
Well, see,
And
like
I'm
Eric
on a
Roberts, he looked to me, he looked he wasn't so hot looking in this movie.
he looks
And
better now as an
but the
older
thing
guy.
is, I remember one of my sisters just drooling over him. She just thought he was freaking hot. She thought he was the best looking guy in the movie. And I'm like, did you watch the same movie as me?
There's
So,
a
everyone has something that, they find attractive. So, just like the guys, I mean, they had a real pretty model type, girl that was supposedly interested in Jason Statham's character. And then you had the beautiful Hispanic woman that was just desperate for help, and she was really pretty, had beautiful long dark hair and olive complexion. So you had
everything.
two gorgeous women for the men to think, yeah, she's nice looking, even though they didn't really have as much TNA in it as they didn't really have any TNA in this movie
None.
because they didn't need it. They just need the good looking woman for the guy to save, because both of them saved their woman in here. And then you have the guys shooting guns and blowing shit up. So
I
it
really,
was good. I
almost
loved
feel
it.
personally attacked.
So
I love this movie. I really do.
mhm.
But watching it now, we're going to get in some weeds here. This movie was a harbinger on everything in the 2010s that I was not expecting to happen. 2010s, we had Marvel come out swinging and showing us how to do action films. They have a script. They had pretty generic but good movies that rolled out from 2008 to 2018, 19.
Yeah.
And the Expendables was one of those films that tried to copy it a little bit. It seemed like they wanted to ride the wave of the action star, and
Well,
they did
to
really well.
me, that's not what I took from it. I mean, because it was partly made and written by Sylvester Stallone, to me, it seemed like Sylvester Stallone was going through something in his life when he decided to help write this, or he saw something from the other person that helped write it. I think there was two other people that helped write it. That they thought, well, he saw it, thought it was pretty good, and decided that, I want to star in this movie and bring back my career, show that I still got what it takes to be an action hero. Even though one thing I did notice that I didn't really pay that much attention to when it first came out was that his hair was just too dark. I mean, you could tell he dyed it, and he just looked, like, one of those guys that's got a toupee on, he's balding, but he's got a real thick toupee on that makes him look kind of stupid. Well, that was the only thing I didn't like. I mean, the other guy, what's that guy's name that was in 9.5 Weeks? The guy, the tattoo guy, Tool,
Oh,
that actor.
New York.
Yeah, I just never thought he was attractive ever, even when he was young. But he he just looked really bad. Like he had paid too much money, way too much money to try to look younger. And then him having the open shirt when he comes walking in, all that with this hot babe, but at least the girl looked like she was more close to his age and having some 19-year-old hanging on his arm, which would make it look really bad, make him look even older. So at least they did that. And she was really pretty, but she looked like she had more plastic in her than she had on her. So, but who knows? Oh, mine is.
I'm not upset.
Mine is real. So I didn't pay for mine. But what I'm saying is that made him I just thought they made him look really bad. I mean, I didn't really pay that much attention to it the first time I watched the movie because it was cool to see these older guys getting to come out and kick some butt. Now, I wasn't really paying that much attention to his character, Mickey Rourke, his character too much because it was, I wasn't interested in him. I didn't go see it for him. I went to see it for, for Jason Statham, basically, is the one I wanted to see in the movie. But, Sylvester Stallone kicking some butt, and then all the other guys that were in it, Stone Cold and, all them. I wanted to see some people get some shit blown up. That's what I was in the mood to see, some fires and some guns and cannons going off, some real action. So I was excited about that. So all the other little details about certain things, I didn't really pay that much attention to. But this time when I watched it, I had a notebook and I just started writing things down. And I couldn't, once I saw it and it popped in my head, about Sylvester's his hair being jet black and not having any highlights or anything to make it look more natural, like he was starting to get some grays on the side or something like that. It just looked
he could have totally Polly Walnuts this and looked like he had the wingtips right above the ears, and he would have been fine.
It would have made him look more attractive to me. Would have made him look a little distinguished, like a guy that was gracefully growing older. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with a man who has gray hair or gray in his beard or anything like that. If he's an older man, if he wants to use something on it to help make it not all white, just make it look salt and peppery, then that's good too. But don't try to take away everything about you being distinguished, because a lot of women, I don't know if it's all of them, but most of the women I know like a man that's looks like a man, a distinguished.
From 1967 to 2020, Sean Connery was a sex symbol. And every woman turned into a wet mess whenever he was around on screen.
I think so. My mom adored him. She thought he was really hot. I thought he was very attractive. Even when he was the father on the last movie with Harrison Ford, I thought he was attractive.
Talking about the Last Crusade.
Yeah, that one and the one he was in where... he was with vampires. He had the vampire.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yes, I loved him in that movie. I thought it was in The Rock. He was good in The Rock. I mean, he was just an attractive man. But he was attractive, but he was happy with. He felt comfortable. He seemed comfortable with his gray hair and a few wrinkles, his ruggedness of it. Same thing with Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott, to me, the older he got, the more attractive he was to me.
Look out, Janet's feeling lonely watching Roadhouse Kids.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I could watch that quite a few times. But I really like Sam Elliott. I mean, I like even like I said, in Tombstone, he was freaking good looking. I mean, rugged, manly. I mean, you could almost smell him. You could almost smell their sweat, their manliness. I mean, I don't know. I just like that
musk that comes off you whenever you've been working in the red dirt all day.
Apparently, I guess that's what it is. I mean, I don't know what it is. All I know is that it's very attractive to me. I mean, if a guy is sweating and working in the yard, chopping wood, or just doing stuff, and he's got beads of sweat on, to me, that's very attractive. He's painting or whatever. But a guy that's been doing those things for 3 days and hasn't taken a shower, the smell is not the same. Okay,
Gentlemen,
so just letting you guys
Janet,
know, bathe each day and get sweaty again the next day. She'll like you for it.
I'm just saying, gentlemen, when February rolls around again, we will post a link to Janet's inbox. Go ahead and send your photos of you chopping wood and
Yeah.
enjoying yourself out back, raking leaves,
I can do it
carrying
right
heavy
now.
stuff,
It's in
getting
my
sweaty.
Discord. I'll look at your pictures. I'll like them. That's
There
why
you go.
I got my selfie spot on there so they can post me some pictures, or for others. There's
Janet's.
others.
Oh, I forgot to put out Janet's Discord.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, thank you. You don't have to, but I'm just saying I have a selfie thing on there so people can share. I love guys that can do dishes and mop, but also fish and hunt and paint, chop limbs down, weed eat, all the
There you
things that
go.
I can do.
There you go. There's her Discord. Getting that
Yeah,
server
thank
right there.
you.
It's a
Thank
lot
you,
of fun.
Bruce.
She's got some good people in there.
Yeah. I'm getting a few more people in there. It's been fun. I love the memes. That's one of my favorite.
I dropped you a link to another Discord called the Geek
Yeah,
Joint.
I already joined.
Their memes section and their NSFW memes. I was thinking about just like doing a giant cut and paste, but no, just get in here and look at it. You'll laugh. Parrot Head's one of the main guys in there, so you're gonna
he's always got some funny stuff.
fucking love Parrot Head. I don't understand why or how I managed to get his attention, but god damn it, I love that man. If he ever has like a GoFundMe or if like he ever has bad stuff happen, like I'm gonna do what I can for the guy.
Well, I hope that never happens. Hope he never
No,
happens.
no, I don't want him to ever have that, but I mean, like the guy has pulled me out of a dark spot. Anyway,
Yeah, he's always got something funny to post or entertaining. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so this movie kind of starts off, and we're already on a ship, and they're attacking pirates. Do you recognize?
Wasn't it a job or what? It's like they were already on a mission to save this ship from the pirates and rescue whatever people that were still alive, I guess.
I don't remember Somali pirates being a discussion in 2010, but I was living in Illinois, like I said, and this movie when this happened, my buddy, Chuck was like, after a few days we saw the movie, he's like, hey, there actually is stuff like piracy that still goes on over in the Indian Ocean. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, that movie was actually pretty accurate. I'm like, wow. So you get to meet all the characters on the pirate ship. You get to meet Gunner, played by Dolph Lundgren, who is my favorite character in this entire film.
Really?
Yeah, I always like the bad guy. Well, he's not really a bad guy. He's just being greedy.
Well, to me, I don't think so. I didn't take that from his character. I felt like he was probably went through, who knows what he went through, but he went through something in his life, a loss of his woman or one of his family members or whatever, and he's probably started smoking crack or doing heroin or some other drug.
Yeah.
And once he did that, that's when he started having problems. And when you start having problems and making mistakes on a job, especially a job like the one we saw him doing, and you could tell by the way that they were reacting to him during that whole job that he'd made mistakes before this time.
Yes.
So basically, he was a drug addict, and because of what he was doing on this one, risking all these people, everyone on the team, they decided they had to cut him loose because it was too much risk. So, and he was bitter. I mean, I don't think he did it because he hated them all and he wanted them all to die. I think he did it to just to piss him off and show him that he was still able to do something or something like that. So I didn't think of him as too much of a bad guy. I just thought he was like a man scorned or whatever. He felt betrayed,
or he was possibly
betrayed by them. So he cut him loose, and he didn't agree with it.
And
that's how I saw it.
we'll talk about the resolution of that later, but he hangs a pirate, which is pretty much acceptable according to me, but
Mm-hmm.
apparently that's not a good thing to do. I mean, if you're a pirate, you deserve whatever happens to you. And Gunner got a hold of this guy and he threw him over the side of the or wanted to throw him over the side of the ship, and everybody's having a big problem with it. And I thought, like, hey, it's pretty all right. I mean, the pirates, they don't give a fuck. They're gonna rape and miller and
I
steal.
think that they probably wouldn't have gotten so upset if he would just have thrown him off the ship, but he wasn't gonna. He was gonna hang him.
Yep.
So the fact that he was gonna do a torture that didn't need to be done, basically, was the reason why they said he was just too extreme. That he couldn't be trusted. They didn't know what he was capable of doing, and the fact that he's willing to maybe hurt one of them to be able to do it. It just proved to them that he needed to be cut loose, which to me it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. After that incident, they get back to their shop, which is kind of like a boys' club, and you see everybody's got their
man cave.
Yeah, they're a serious man cave. Like, who the fuck has a man cave you pay rent on? These guys. That's what they do. They have man caves, and they have a motorcycle addiction and tattoo addiction, and the tattoo that he gets put on by Tool, it's like what, 4 letters?
Yeah, and it took him 15 seconds.
Yeah.
That was another thing I was going to say, but you beat me to it. That's okay. That's all right.
I didn't mean to beat you to it.
No, it's all right. But it's true, though. That's another problem I had. It was, it could have been like that when he was telling the story about the woman on the bridge. He could have been making the tattoo the whole time.
Yes.
With it looked like he was actually sitting there using the tattoo gun to do something instead of just painting. You know what I mean?
Sitting there and jerking off.
I don't know. I just thought that was kind of lame. But,
yeah,
and I don't remember it that much. I don't know why. It just seems like when I was younger, a lot of shit just went right over my head. You know what I mean? Because it didn't seem, I have a tattoo now, so I know what a real tattoo, what work it takes to get one. So the fact that he sat there for half of a minute and was able to make 4 letters, which we know is impossible. And you're constantly wiping the ink off and everything while it wasn't even like he even tried to make it look like he was doing a real tattoo. So, but I didn't notice it the first time I watched the movie. So, I just didn't notice it at all. I didn't realize that because I hadn't had one, I guess. I mean, a person who's never had a tattoo is not going to really notice that, because apparently I didn't. But, I would now. I was like, that is just, I made a note on it because I was like, what? That was a bummer to me. Sorry, it's your turn now.
You're good. I mean, if you're going to talk like for the next 30 minutes, I will be more than happy to paint frost giants and shut the hell up.
Well, you know me. I can talk. I mean, I have no problem talking. But you go ahead. You were doing some insight, and I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's crazy. Did Drew just get hit with a fucking YouTube strike?
Uh-oh, what do you mean? From where?
Hold on. This kind of impacts Janet, guys, because this is Janet's Tuesday night stream. YouTube just hit me with a community guideline strike out of nowhere. I just received this email. Share this far and wide, tell them no justice, no peace. It violates our medical misinformation policy. Midnight Prism, episode 7, alien abduction. What?
Oh, yeah. Sunday, his Sunday night stream he does with, I think he does it with.
Night stream he did?
Yeah.
With the Austinator and the good voice guy? Okay.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So is it they don't take his channel down, they just made him take that video down? I think they took that down. They might have given him like a 7-day.
I think they took that down. They might have given him like a 7-day. I think they took that down. They might have given him like a 7-day. I think they took that down. They might have given him like a 7-day. I think they took that down. They might have given him like a 7-day.
I didn't get to watch it because it's so late at night. You know what I mean? It's so late. If it wasn't so late, I would be there live. But I mean, I gotta sleep sometime. But that's terrible. Poor Drew just can't get a break. I'll have to get on Twitter and look. Is that on Twitter?
It's on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll have to get on there and look.
All right, I'll stop sharing that screen. All right, so Bowsette's like, yeah, I told you YouTube's woke tarded. Yeah, they are.
Yep. Yeah, they're getting bad, really bad.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Apparently, I got monetized. How the hell that happened, I don't know, but whatever. I don't even know how that happened.
Because you got the people and you got the time. You put the effort in. That's what happens.
Interesting.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
As am I. I mean, I'm really happy. I mean, wasn't expecting it. I'll say that much.
But see, the whole scene, if you don't mind, I'll start talking about it. The whole scene about on the ships where they had to show Gunner losing it, you know what I mean? Being over the top and him not being able to be trusted to because he almost hurts a member of their team. Okay. And so they had to get rid of him. So when Mr. Church goes to see Sylvester Stallone's character and Arnold Schwarzenegger's character to see which one he's going to pick to do this next tough job, which I thought was awesome, having them two show up in there because they're two old action heroes. See, so that is what to me it was like a little cherry on top. You know what I mean? I thought that was really, really awesome. But when they did that and then they chose not to include him, that's what made the arc of the story, so that when they decide to not take the job at the other place, and then he changes his mind, decides to go back, that whole scenario, that's when Dolph Lundgren's character decides, well, I'm going to get even with him and screw him over, where he can't help that girl because I'm pissed off that he took me off the team. So it adds another layer to what's going on the island, and the woman, being in peril and all that stuff. So you want to root for him, So that's why I think that they had to put that in there. But the scene between Dolph Lundgren's character and is it Jet Li? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
It is?
Yes, he plays Yin Yang.
Okay, well, I couldn't remember what his name was in the movie. I just was remembering, and I thought he was kick butt. But everyone always says if you had a small man like Bruce Lee or Jet Li or whatever fight a really big, strong man, he'd probably lose because brute force would probably be able to take off a person just because they knew jujitsu or whatever their moves are, that more than likely the brute force, brute strength would take them out. So it was nice to see it more realistic, a realistic fight, but make it where it wasn't such an easy takedown, by taking the little guy out. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I thought that was a really good fight scene in there for that one scene.
I love the scene between him and Jet Li. I thought that was such a good fight.
Especially with the sign that said low, you duck your head because it's low. So he made sure he went in there because he knew the other guy was so huge. I thought that was like a little flash of comedy relief or whatever in there. I thought that was funny. But I just thought that was a really cute little thing to do to make the scene a little more exciting, especially when he kept, the big dumb guy kept hitting his head. Sorry, but it was funny, I thought. that scene. That was a good fight too. The different moves that were involved and everything.
Well, the that's a really good display of how a smaller person should react to being attacked by a bigger, superior opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just my
Level the field as best you can.
Shadow, it'll be a little bit, but yeah, we're getting a dog. We just got to get a house first, but we're getting a dog. Yeah, and you can use a bigger person's momentum and weight against them, like in Aikido, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, Travis, you have a good night, bud. Good seeing you here.
Thank you for coming. Stopping by.
Everyone thought Choi Hong Man was going to be unbeatable in MMA, but they were wrong. Yeah, they were completely wrong. Whenever they have that chase scene, the chase scene between Stallone with Jet Li in the back of that black truck.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones.
That was actually a respectable chase scene. The only thing I didn't like was that they really kept Jet Li out in the back of the truck too long. He should have gone out there as like the final 30 seconds of the chase.
Yeah, because he was wide open to be shot. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there were so many bullets flying. The truck was torn to shreds. And that was a freaking awesome truck. I mean, every time I saw it, I was like, damn, I wish I had that truck. And I was thinking, does it have bulletproof windows or something? Because it seemed like, the fact that they ducked down in the seat and everything. But, man, the thing was just riddled with holes.
Yeah, it was absolutely.
There's no way. How could they have not gotten shot? So I was just thinking, well, maybe it's a bulletproof or something, somehow it's got layers in it or something. But it was a really sharp looking vehicle, I thought.
Well, we found out later it was all plot armor that kept it going.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks, but that's, it's plot armor, guys. Sorry. And when the vehicle needs to break down, it'll magically break down. And until then, it's workable.
Yeah.
So
basically. But it was still good. It was still exciting. It got your blood pumping, and you were real excited and like watching all the stuff going off.
I wasn't worried about all the bullets. I was actually worried about little Jet Li getting chucked out of the truck, because he's in the back of the truck for like 4 minutes during that chase scene.
Yeah, and he rolled around a lot and stuff. But to me, I never even thought about him flying out of the truck. I don't know why, but it just seemed like because he was so limber and stuff, the way he tucked and rolled and everything in the back of the truck, because you could tell that he was used to staying out of, ducking and staying out of, harm's way, basically, is what it looked like to me. It showed how nimble and limber he was by being in the back of the truck that long. The thing I kept waiting for was him to get shot, even though, he didn't. But that's what worried me more than him falling out of the truck, was just because there was bullets all over the place. I mean, it was whizzing by all over and from all directions. So now I did worry about them tipping over, the truck, flipping over or getting hit and then knocked over. But that didn't happen. But it was still exciting. I thought it was a very good excitement, action-packed, car chase, shoot 'em up type thing. And that whole scene I thought was really, really good for action purposes.
After the fight, after Jet Li and Gunner fight, Ross shoots Gunner, and then Gunner gives up all the information for Garza.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't Jet Li start as a stuntman? I don't know if he started as a stuntman. I thought he started as a tournament fighter, and then after he was in tournaments for a while, he just started acting.
I don't know. I didn't look that one thing up. The stuff that I did was we haven't gotten to it yet, but I wrote down like different lines that I thought grabbed my attention, that I remembered, that made me go, oh, I remember that, when it happened, the different line of why it was so important to the character, in the movie like I did with, a few of the other movies that I do, because those are things that to me, the characters' development throughout the movie and why they're there, how things that they do, is what the kind of things that I remember.
Do you want a beer?
Dang.
Like Terry Crews, there's a couple scenes that he has that I thought was just phenomenal.
No.
But
Terry Crews was in this movie far too little, I think.
yeah, I do too. I was like, wow, I thought he was in it a lot more when I got to the end of the movie. But then I was remembering he was only in scenes with other people. You know what I mean? He
doesn't
never really
have
had a part by himself.
No.
So they could have used him a lot more, but he might have been on a limited schedule where he only had a few days and they had to squeeze in all they could in the few days that he was allotted. So, I haven't watched anything to show what kind of stuff was taken out or what ended up on the cutting room floor, because sometimes whole scenes end up cut out. So he might have had another scene that I didn't know about, but I didn't see anything when I was looking it up. But it's kind of hard though when you have that many characters in a movie that are all like prominent, characters with their own outside the movie realm personality, to have them in it enough, to keep the story going where they're all involved in it. So,
See, I thought the parts that Cruz was in, they felt like they were not giving enough time to Cruz or to Terry Couture,
mhm.
and I wanted more Couture. Couture is
Yeah.
like I empathize with that guy. I had cauliflower ear growing up. I know this feeling. So,
But I remember I didn't know anything about wrestling, not one thing about wrestling when I first saw this movie. So when they first brought all that up and they were saying that, and he was talking about, you guys are just making fun of my ear, blah blah blah. And when he was doing it, I really thought in real life, I thought, well, I never heard of it. I never heard of cauliflower ear. I thought it was like they're making a joke that something had happened to him, and that's why they were making fun of his ear. So it went right over my head, apparently, because I didn't know squat about it. But I just wasn't involved in anything that had any kind of wrestling or anything, which was really funny because I absolutely love, cage fighting and stuff now. I mean, I've gone to lots of good fights, and I just love it. I just think it's 10 times better than any of the other sports. For actual, hand-to-hand combat type stuff. It's almost like when I get to go to a thing, it's like getting to watch a real Mortal Kombat type action, which is really cool. So, I just like it. It's really exciting, especially if you get close enough where you can actually see what's going on and hear the actual,
slapping.
contact between the two people, and that makes it, even the women, it's exciting, so it's a good sport for women too, for actual people want to watch it. It's not something where you're just going, oh God, why'd I come and get this ticket, for whatever, sport they might be playing. But I think cage fighting is overall for men and women is a very good sport. And, and for the spectators too, because it's very exciting. I've been to, I'd say 30, different fights watching it. I've not once seen anyone sleeping in the seat.
Never.
I have at boxing matches. I've seen actual people just like, like basically falling asleep during the fight, because it usually ends up where they take the points and it's no knockouts or anything like that. So it's like, can get really boring, especially if you sit there for hours waiting for the real fight, because you have to watch the other fights first. And, it's long and drawn out. A lot of people don't realize it because they watch the main event on TV, sitting there for an hour before the fight, having drinks or whatever. And, trying to watch a boring fight that's boring. So, sorry, I went off subject again.
You're good. You're good.
they don't really go into the characters for Cruise and Couture,
Mhm.
and that kind of made me sad. But at the same time, they didn't really do much with Jet Li aside from the fact that he's like, he had this one scene where he's like, "I'm a small guy. I have to fight harder and do more just to make myself look good next to you." I love that.
Yeah, he was trying to get sympathy because Sylvester Stallone's character said, "Why? Is it because you're smaller? Is that why you think you need more money?" And that's when he said, "Yeah." I thought that was a cute scene. So there was some cute, funny dialogue between quite a few of the characters. Especially, I really liked it when they showed all the guys, like in the break room or whatever, talking about whether or not they're going to take this job and what's the in and outs of the job and things like that. But they also picked on each other and stuff because you could tell they had good rapport and they were a good team because they knew certain things about each other that would make them, I don't know, be more likely to want to make sure they had each other's back. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that whole stuff to me during those certain couple scenes that they had with all the guys doing that, the banter between them made me feel like they were a good team, and that because of their friendship, uh, it made them more, I don't know, more successful at whatever it is they were doing. And each of them had different things that they were really, really good at. So that's why I really liked it. I thought it made it more believable for them to be ready, willing to go and risk their life knowing they had someone they trusted, next to them. So I like that part of it.
I also the scene where they meet up with Bruce Willis in the church, and
Mhm.
then Schwarzenegger comes sauntering in. That was great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how the camera managed to not melt with those three on screen at once because I thought that would never happen when I was growing up. You couldn't get Schwarzenegger and Stallone together. Those guys
Mhm.
always had a running rivalry between each other.
Yeah. You could tell because they kinda used it to their advantage in the scene,
Yeah,
you know,
you like playing
like
in the jungles, don't you?
headbutting each other with,
And that's
Bruce Willis as their referee, which was nice.
and I don't know. I just that was one of the parts of the movie I wasn't expecting to see with those three together,
Mhm.
and it worked out really well. I was kind of just impressed. It ended like that, but I guess they don't have the money for a fight between Schwarzenegger and Stallone now, do they?
Well, they
Okay,
didn't really need to 'cause, it was basically, um, them trying to outdo each other by their little henpecks, their
yeah,
little.
they're getting at each other a little bit like
Yeah, a
guys do.
little stab here, a little stab there, but I think, what I liked too was his exit. Is it basically the camera followed him all the way to the door as he opened the doors and then as he walked out, and they slowly close, So he got like, I don't know, it was a very good scene for Arnold Schwarzenegger to be in the, movie, and it was nice because Arnold Schwarzenegger is a big guy, okay, compared to Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone is not a very big guy, okay? He's muscular and all that, he looks big, but he's not. He's not very tall, and I think he might be 5'8" or something. I mean, he's not tall.
Who?
So, Sylvester Stallone, he's not a very tall guy. Can you look it up and see how tall he is? But, Bruce Willis, when Bruce Willis is walking over to talk to him, he's looking down at him. You can tell
Yeah.
by the camera angle. So Bruce Willis is definitely bigger than him. And, him and, um, uh, was Tom Cruise. He's short little guy too.
He's my
So
height.
is Antonio
They
Banderas.
were fun size. We're fun
Yeah.
size.
Well, they're not as little as Kevin Hart, but they're small, and they don't like to have other actors around them that make them look small. But it's kind of hard when you're around a bunch of guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terry Hughes, Crews and all them around you, you got to have where you're sitting or fighting or doing something to where it takes away from the fact that you're just small compared to them. So I thought that was funny because there was a couple of pictures I looked up when I was looking up Arnold Schwarzenegger for this stuff, and it had pictures of him from Conan, and he was standing next to, I think it was, oh God, I can't remember the two actors' names.
Right about Andre the Giant and Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, that's right. Andre the Giant. That's who it was. And he was tiny.
Yeah, I'll
Arnold Schwarzenegger looked like a midget next to both of them. They were towering over him. So I think that, Sylvester Stallone sometimes feels the same way when he's in a scene with him. But, it was his movie. It was his script, or partially his script. And he was a producer, of the movie and all that stuff. So, kudos to him for actually putting himself in a situation where, he might be overshadowed by one of the bigger guys. Yeah, there it is. Holy moly. See how little, and he's a big man.
Schwarzenegger, hold on. Schwarzenegger is 6'2". Okay. 6'2" gets you up to here. This is Andre the Giant. That's Wilt Chamberlain. Basketball excellente. All right.
Yeah.
They're getting ready to go take him over to the couch. Oh, wait, did I say that loud? I'm sorry.
Amazing. How tall is he? 6'2"? Is that what you said?
6'2".
Jeez, that is, and look how little he looks.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That is just amazing.
Yeah. And Andre the Giant still has the Guinness Book of World Records for most beers drank in one round.
Yeah, I can believe it.
One sitting.
I can't even imagine their parents, Wilt Chamberlain's mom, having to cook for him every day. I mean, how do they afford to feed that kid? That is a lot of food.
And by the way, about that, I just looked up this young lady. Oh my God, a 22-year-old firecracker. Yes, thank you. But yeah, I've got to say that makes Schwarzenegger look so small.
Yes, tiny. I was shocked because, when Bruce Willis was looking at Sylvester Stallone, he was looking, you could tell by his eyes, he was looking down. He wasn't looking straight across at Sylvester. So the scene when they, because they film the scene and they usually have cameras on both sides, but not at the same time. They'll film from this angle and then this angle and this angle, sometimes from above. And then they edit together so they can go back around like that and make it flow. And I could tell that he was definitely looking down.
Yeah.
So
well,
he's smaller.
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Android 18. Oh, okay. It's Suki. She's talking about a martial artist. Very good martial artist from what it looks like too. I don't know. I'm wondering about how whenever we get to Act 3, how you're going to like me on this, Janet, because
that's fine. I mean, I don't expect you to like the movie. If there's things that notice, just like I've already said, there was a couple things I've already said that I was really surprised because I didn't really notice it the first time I watched it. That scene about his hair, and then how, I don't know, I just didn't like the scene about the tattoo. There's just lots of little things that I thought were kind of, it took away from the movie because I didn't realize how fake it looked. You know what I mean? So, but I didn't see, so far I haven't seen anything with Jason Statham that was bad. So far everything he did in this movie was good.
I hate Jason Statham in this film.
You do? Why?
Because the director of photography tries to shortcut all the fights that Statham's in and make them look more quick edit. And that's something to do whenever like you don't really have a budget for a good fight choreographer.
Yeah.
And the movie, not War, because War didn't really do that too much. That was one where Jet Li and Jason Statham fought each other.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. But this movie here, there's a lot of quick edits in it, and it's always with Jason Statham. So I'm wondering if he's just not a good fighter. And I mean, it's okay. I suck at fighting too, but for crying out loud, like at least don't do quick edits. Make your character get his ass kicked, so he has to rely on the other players.
Yeah,
and help.
the one scene where the girlfriend, he shows up and the girlfriend is with the other guy and he gets his heart broken basically.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later in the movie, when he finds out that she's got bruises on her face, and he goes to teach that guy a lesson for smacking her around or whatever at the basketball court.
That was good.
That whole scene I thought was really, really good. I mean, it was really fast. But to me, watching it seemed believable, even though like you might say that he was fast and to the point, and it wasn't long and drawn out. But the whole thing
is fine. I just hate the way they filmed his fights.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like that he can't throw a punch right, and it wouldn't look right on film, or maybe he's just slower compared to the other actors. But he had to look like a badass in front of 5 other basketball players, and they did the entire fight scene with quick edits.
Yeah.
And like I've seen Jason Statham fight before. In War, he does a good job against Jet Li. I mean, it's not the greatest movie of all time, but it's pretty good. It's watchable. And this movie here, it's like any fight scene with Jason Statham, they've got to have quick edits. It's like, God damn it. Do you guys not like Jason Statham that much? You have to speed up his fight scene?
It might be just the person that did the editing just thought, just take this out. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't put that all on Jason Statham. I would put it on the person that did the editing,
the director of photography and the editor.
Yeah, and the person who signed off on it, which is partly Sylvester Stallone. So Sylvester Stallone might have said, "Yeah, just cut that out," because he didn't want to be one-upped.
I guess not, but what I really like about this movie is the scene where Payne and Ross fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because Stallone gets his ass handed to him.
Yeah,
we've watched 6 Rocky movies and 2 Creed movies, and Balboa is a pretty good fighter.
Yeah,
we watched this movie here, and he's acting his age. He's not really trying to, he is doing stuff that he probably shouldn't be, but he doesn't try to overwhelm you with bullshit by saying I can take out Steve Austin.
Yeah,
he doesn't get dishonest with the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm being very critical of this movie, because they have a fan service scene where Jason Statham beats up 5 guys with shitty quick edits and a very horrible fight choreography, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then you have Payne give the ass stomping of a lifetime to Stallone. I think Stallone got injured in that fight scene.
Well, I think from what I could tell in the scene where they put the rope and he's got his hand like this,
Yeah.
and you could tell it looks like he's really choking and stuff.
Yes.
I from every movie I've ever watched with Arnold Schwarzenegger and with Sylvester Stallone, they like to look like the comeback kid, basically. You know what I mean? So they like to look like they could barely take any more. Like in True Lies, when Arnold Schwarzenegger is getting his ass handed to him in a couple of the scenes. He wants it to look like he can't take much more. If something doesn't happen, he's got to get a second wind or a revive because of he's thinking of his daughter, or something like that. Some kind of a motivation that pops in his head and makes him get this extra burst of like adrenaline, and he's going to go in there and just,
Trying to kick ass.
heads off. And Sylvester Stallone does the same thing. All his Rocky movies, he's pretty much, beaten down. He's at his wit's end. But guess what? He ends up, saving the day anyways, because he gets some kind of inspiration at the very last moment. So basically, that's what I think he was doing in this movie. That's a typical, to me, of Sylvester Stallone move.
I really disagree, because I think this movie here is the first movie that Stallone has shown that he can get his ass stomped.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
he got his ass stomped by Apollo Creed, Dolph Lundgren's character in Rocky.
He got beat up by Dolph Lundgren and by Clubber Lang and all that. But like in this movie here, I think he was really more outclassed, and he's not in the shape to fight a wrestler in this movie. In fact,
yeah, but you got to remember, in the movie, he wasn't fighting a wrestler. He was fighting a bodyguard or a special ops kind of guy. Okay.
Yeah,
and he was special ops. See, that's why I was able to watch the movie, and I knew who the characters were and what they used to do or what they did or what they were still doing. But the fact is that the character in the movie wasn't a wrestler. These were all special ops, ex-military.
He's special ops, but I recognize him as a wrestler the way he was fighting them.
Well, yeah, you would, because you were in the military and you loved wrestling, so you would notice that. But someone else watching the movie would not know right off the bat that that they were wrestlers, or famous wrestlers. He was a huge guy. I mean, he's a big guy, so he was going to be hard to handle, whether he was just special ops or a wrestler or whatever else too, and the moves that they used. But I can't remember the other guy's name. The guy they ended up, that scene that was freaking awesome, where he gets his neck broke. That character, he's like, I think he was a famous fight coordinator and stuntman and stuff, and they put him in the movie, and now he's an actor or whatever. I can't remember what his name is. Dang. He was in the scene when they first got Sylvester Stallone with Stone Cold, the dark-headed guy wearing a polo shirt or whatever. And he gets his ass handed to him by the two guys fighting with him, with Jet Li and I think it's Couture. He ended up breaking his neck, and his head goes straight back. In that scene,
I know who you're talking about. I just can't
remember the guy's name, but that actor, he wasn't a wrestler, but he was, some of his moves were pretty good, but he was a badass, and he just seemed like a cocky asshole. You know what I mean? Which did a great job doing it. But he was with Stone Cold throughout the whole movie until he died, until he got his head broke. It looked real to me. That whole scene, it was freaking cool. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I rewound it a couple of times and watched that one scene, because it was like, what? It almost ripped his head off is what it looked like. But it was intense, and it was realistic to me. And even though I saw it, over and over again, it was still a really, really, really good scene. And I thought that was a really phenomenal fight scene in the movie for those two characters to team up and take this guy out, because they had to get rid of him, because with him still still walking, he was a threat. So the fact that they took him out and they took him out in such a cool way was pretty cool. So it was good.
Okay, I'll have you do that for us on Friday there, Max. Have yourself a good night, and thank you for stopping by, sir. He's a Friday night streamer. We get on his channel, and it's a chill.
Yeah.
Okay. No, the thing I'm saying is that I recognize certain things, and the fighting styles that these guys were using. Like, you can tell that Steve Austin is really good with wrestling. He's been taught well, and he's learned how to make it look good for the camera, which is a very valuable thing in his position. But what I saw with this movie, with the fight scene with him and Stallone,
they had rehearsed that quite a few times, but there was something that went wrong with the rope, and I want to say it was during the scene with the rope involved.
Uh-huh.
That was where Stallone involved a vertebrae injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he probably did. And remember that one guy I'm talking about, the one they broke his neck later, is standing behind him holding that.
Yeah.
When Stone Cold's in front of him, and I can't remember what his name is, but yeah, I told you that one scene, he looked like he was really getting choked to me.
Yeah. And
So
it
was
looked,
pretty
they
gruesome.
did a good job selling that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I was really surprised on how that held up 12 years later. And I just gotten done, like I wrote like a paragraph and a half about how disgusted I was about the basketball court fight.
and then we have this, and I'm like, the same guy worked on this movie that set up this fight. Are you kidding me? And it
blew me away. It really blew me away because
the way it was choreographed, it looked really good. And then, you know, I don't hate Statham. I just hate
the one scene where that woman is meeting Sylvester Stallone and Statham, you know, to find out what their job is supposed to do when they go there on their plane, and he to pretend to be nature helpers or whatever. And she said, what are your names? And he goes, that's Buddha and I'm past, or I'm Buddha and that's past, or something like that. I thought that was funny. That was one of my notes. And then the scene where Statham is talking to the girl when she says, you know, when she was dumping him basically for that other guy, you'd been gone for 6 months, you know, and she's with this other guy. And she said, I don't even know what you do for a living, you know, like that. And then when he goes and he beats the shit out of those guys, and she's getting on the back of his motorcycle, and he goes, well, now you know what I do for a living. You know, I thought that was I don't know, it was kind of a lame, you know, line.
Yeah,
I thought it was kind of
did not get
dorky,
love in this movie.
you know, but to me, it just made me think, well, you know, Sylvester Stallone did help write this movie, so that's just, I don't know, I just thought it was kind of lame. But and the scene where he was getting the tattoo on his back, and his Tool was talking about the woman, you know, the woman that he looked at her and she looked at him, and he said he could tell in her by the look on her face what she was about to do. But what did I do? I just turned around and kept walking. Okay, so it was like him something that bothered him, you know. It was he's never going to forget it as long as he lives. It's like his curse basically. And he was telling this to Sylvester Stallone because Stallone was disturbed for whatever reason, and he couldn't stop thinking about the young woman because he abandoned her and she wouldn't leave. You know, she wouldn't leave with us. She that bothered him. And when he was telling him that story, and he said, if I had saved that woman, I could have saved what was left of my soul. So basically, to me, that was a really good line, even though it was coming from someone's character that I really had a hard time getting into and liking him. But that whole story that he told to me was very moving, even though because of the trying to put myself into it when he was talking about, because it was during war, and what these people, the villagers, you know, went through, and what they saw on a daily basis. It made me I don't know, it just made me feel for, it had more feeling for it. So this part of this movie actually made me think this guy can actually act. So it really, I don't know, it to me, this line in this whole little scene redeemed him for being so crappy about looking like he could even put a tattoo on someone. So I really I don't know, I just really I really like that scene. And it was that scene is the reason why Sylvester Stallone makes a decision to go back to the island and save that girl. at least try to save her or do the job and take the bad guy out or whatever. So to me, I thought that was like a redeeming moment in the movie for a character that I was really like, I just I just didn't have any need for him. I just didn't like him, but I remembered after watching that scene when he's telling him, I was like, wow, he's really got some acting chops. I guess he could really act, and he can, because apparently he's been in lots of movies and made lots of money being an actor. So I just never really spent a lot of time investing into his movies because I just never was really into him as an actor. So but that one scene really made me realize that it was a good scene. I mean, it redeemed him for me through the whole movie. And after that, I didn't look at him as such a I actually had some respect for him after that. So it brought him up a few notches for me. I mean, in the movie. Let's see, what was another thing I really liked? Oh, and the scene where they're in the little caves or whatever you want to call them, or the underground tunnels under the mansion, and they're setting up all the little claymore mines.
Little plastique and
Yeah.
explosives.
I didn't know what those were called. I just knew there was some kind of bombs or little mines, or I guess you could say it was some kind of chemicals or whatever they were using to make these little bombs. Man, they had a lot of them. It seemed like every 5 feet there were like blam, bam, blam, and everybody
was getting into that entire setting up the plastic explosives game too.
Yeah, so that whole thing was real exciting them, because you knew as many as they were putting out that place was going to be, there wasn't going to be nothing left. I mean, this was going to be a massive, humongous explosion when it finally went off. It really made you excited about it. But with all the action that was going on with all the different characters, it was just bam, bam, bam. It was constant excitement, and I was just loving it. I mean, I was just really getting into it, but when Terry come out with that ginormous automatic shotgun, I was like, oh my fucking God, that was so awesome. I could just feel my chest just pounding from the explosions when he was shooting that gun. I was like, God, I would love to be able to shoot that. It's all I could think of, and I probably wouldn't even be able to stand up, but shoot at one time, and I'd probably be blown into the wall. But it was a phenomenal scene. I'll never forget that as long as I live. As loud as it was, because you could hear it going blam, 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 blam. As he's coming up, and Sylvester's getting his ass kicked, and there was 2 other fights going on at the same time. But that's when Stone Cold stood up and ran out, because he knew when he heard that gun coming that he couldn't fight that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just thought that scene was awesome scene. It was one of my very favorite scenes, was when that gun got whipped out, because it was a great gun, and you could see the shotgun shells going around in the little loop around as he's blasting that gun, and his rippling muscles. I mean, he had to have arms the size of cannons, basically, to hold that weapon while it was really shooting. I would love to see some behind the scenes stuff on him getting to shoot that gun, because everybody had to have earphones or something on, while he was shooting that gun. I mean, geez, I was just freaking awesome. Like, I don't have any other words for it, because it was just that whole scene was awesome. I just loved it. Did you like that scene too?
Look at the screen.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at it. Stop my penis. Can only get so right.
That's my entire reaction to seeing
that. Oh my God. It was good though, wasn't it? It was like awesome scene. I mean, who wouldn't want a gun like that? I mean, is it even legal? If I was to go buy something to put that on my shotgun.
Wait. What kind of person are you? This is America.
I don't care. I thought that gun was, I want one. I mean, that is That was awesome. Sorry, I'm drinking my drink. But I love that scene. That was so cool. Let's see. Oh, and then I actually wrote down, we can't do it till the end, but I wrote down the whole thing that Jason Statham's character is the poem that he's reading off to Tool at the very end of the movie. I wrote that whole thing down because I thought that was really good scene too. You know, with the knives, because he threw the knife and he couldn't hit the board.
Yeah, that kind of says something about Jason Statham right there. But
yeah, it's another one. But I thought it was phenomenal. I really loved it because I really like Jason Statham. I think he's a very good actor. I think he's really talented. In all the movies that I've seen him in, I thought he's done a really good job. So I thought I liked the fact that Sylvester Stallone and Jason Statham were side by side in the movie because there were two totally different types of fighters and two different styles of macho-ness. I don't know how else to pronounce or how to put that, but I just liked it. I thought their combination was really good together in this movie. I was surprised by it too. I thought it was really, really good. The scene where they're in the plane when they first are take off and they end up, dropping the plane fuel, and stuff. I thought that whole scene was really, really good too. So, and the scene where Jason Statham goes into the gunner seat and has his head sticking out of the plane. Now that was a little over the top. But it was still freaking awesome, for an action movie because you want to see people get their ass kicked. That's why you pay to go see action films. You want to see people fight. You want to see fists flying. You want to hear guns going off. You want to hear cars, tires screeching. You just want to see all of it. And this movie had a little of all of that. They had in the city car chase with guns blazing going off, and then you had a big giant plane dropping fuel and starting a fire. It just had so much action and big guys with guns. I just thought that was so good. That scene with the automatic shotgun and then the grenade launchers, when is that what you'd call that gun that has the thing you put in and you twist it? Isn't that like what do you call that?
What do you mean?
That weapon that he shot when he shot that thing where he stuck it on there and he turned it to shoot it and it shot that giant missile or whatever.
That's just an RPG.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever that was, it was freaking awesome too. I just thought all that was good. And the fact that they went through and let all that fuel fall out of that one container. Now, to me, that was kind of hokey in a little bit because you had this whole yard with all this stuff, stored on it, and they open it and they're letting it drain out. Okay. And they're sneaking around and stuff. This is before the other people even knew they were there. And nobody notices the reeky smell of all this fuel leaking out. You know what I mean? I don't know. So to me, that was a little bit like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, why didn't anybody notice that the fuel was leaking? So I don't know. I thought that was kind of hokey.
Balzette says federal firearms licenses get you the big guns. You can get a federal firearms license. You can. It takes money, but you live in a state where you could do it.
Yeah, man. But do you think I could shoot a gun like that?
I don't know if you'd be up for the AA-12. The Atchison's a pretty badass gun. Fully automatic shotguns and pistols are illegal. They are illegal. But the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. Sorry.
Well, even if I had to pay someone and go to a special place to where you had all the stuff, taken care of and set up to be able to go in there and just say, I got to shoot one, oh my God, I can't stop thinking about it. The first time I saw the movie, I remember it being in there, but it wasn't, it was just another gun with explosions and stuff going off. But this time, now that I've got, my concealed carry and my advanced concealed carry, and I actually have more weapons, and
Janet, you
I
probably
shoot
could get
guns.
a hold.
I would love to shoot that gun.
There's a link for you in the private chat, and it takes you to the Wikipedia for the Atchison AA-12.
Oh, cool! Thanks.
And if you want to play with it, that's what you want to play with right there. And you're going to go to a gun range and explain to them your desire. If you can't get it done there, I know a place in Uvalde, not the school. It's called drivetanks.com. And while I've got the browser monopolized, all right.
Well, okay, I saved it.
This is why, for me, Uvalde was such a fucking name for years. And thank God for C&J Energy Services for taking us there and let us play with the smaller stuff. We didn't get to drive tanks or big, fire the main gun on tanks. But we got to play with the small stuff. They have small stuff there. They've got they let you play with machine guns, and they give you like a nice selection of stuff to fuck with.
Wow.
Okay. If you want to play with things that go boom, I want to make a great kaboom. You can do that.
Have you ever been to? I've been to a couple of like fairs, the state fairs, and there's a little area roped off or whatever, and they'll have like old clunkers there.
Yeah.
Old cars, and then you pay so much money and you get a bat or a sledgehammer or just a regular hammer, depending on how much money you pay, and you get to go over and just bash the vehicle. Have you ever done that?
Tanks.
You've done that?
You drive tanks, okay. They do 3 detonations for $1,250, where you do a high explosive bucket list adventure where you have shape charges, hand grenades. Currently, that's unavailable. They'll get more. Don't worry. And then they do fireballs. Okay,
cool.
Gas fuels. Or if you want to drive tanks, they have the M482 EB Sherman medium tank, which
wow.
The German Stug 3 also with the assault gun. They have the M42A3 E2 Cobra.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I would like to be in that one. That would be really awesome.
For $2,800, you can drive the Cobra King and shoot the Eva, which is the main gun, 1 round.
I wonder, have you ever done that? Have you ever done anything like that? Is it hurt when you shoot?
We've been here. I've been here with another company, with my oil field company that's now defunct.
Mm-hmm.
We went there and we played with machine guns, and we got to play with all sorts of shit. I like to bear it. I'm just a big fan. And you pay $10 per round.
Wow.
So,
yeah, but I mean, in a tank. Have you been in a tank and actually got to shoot it?
No, I didn't. We didn't want to do that.
I'm wondering if it hurt your ears and stuff being in there.
3 levels of hearing protection.
Wow, that would be. See, that's the kind of stuff you do get to do. That it's a memory that you'll always have.
Yeah.
The experience for, especially for people that my dad always told us girls that the military wasn't a place for a woman, so he didn't want any of us to join the military. So I never did that, but I did like hunting and fishing and stuff like that. But yeah, just sometimes when I see stuff like I don't know why, but when I saw him carrying that, I heard that boom, boom, boom going off. I was like, what the heck is he shooting? And then when you see him, and he's got these massive arms and he's blam, blam, just shooting that gun. It was just awesome. It was just a huge rush of adrenaline. And all I could think of was, man, I would love to be able to hold that and shoot it. I would probably not be able to stand up. I'd be covered, my whole chest would be covered with bruises for trying to hold that weapon, but it would be really, I think it'd be exciting, get to try it at least. I don't even know if I could lift it with all the ammo and stuff that he had on that one that he was
You're gonna
carrying.
be swole the next day.
Because I felt the same way. There was a movie I'm trying to remember. It was a Western that came out a long time ago. I can't remember the name of it, but they had a Gatling gun in it, and they were cranking the crank to shoot it, and it had all the giant bullets going through up into there, and they were putting them up there and putting them up there. I can't remember which one it was, but man, all I could think of was wanting to shoot that gun, was getting to do that crank that gun and try to shoot it. It would be, I just thought that would be exciting. I never did get to do it, but it would be fun to get to try some of that stuff. I just think it'd be really cool.
Chad was talking about buying a 50 caliber rifle, about $10,000, $12,000. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I can imagine why they're so expensive, but damn, what would I mean, where would you shoot it? Is there any range that has a safe place where you can shoot?
If you can afford something like that, you can afford the land to where you buy it, you pay taxes on it, and nobody steals it from you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, you can drive your tank around and shit. You really can't fire the main gun. You're not supposed to have a working main gun on the tank.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of tankers that have retired, and well, whatever. That's all I'm going to say. Fuck, I mean, you got Demolition Ranch as a YouTube channel, and between him and that fucker in Kentucky, like, holy shit, like, I can't believe that we are showing people, like, hey, here's some actual safe ordnance tests. Don't be like our friend AK Jesus, who blows up a fucking pipe shotgun. YouTube suspended his ass for a week because he made a gun based off of what was seen that killed Shinzo Abe, the Japanese prime minister, about a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
So AK Jesus builds this gun 2 times because the first time it blows up, it doesn't work. The second time it blows up, it doesn't work. And both times he comes out unharmed because he's ducking down behind a piece of hard cover.
Yeah.
It was on video. It's still out there. And if you search for it, you can watch it. But Angry Cops has the greatest response video for it because he monetized the shit out of it, making fun of him like, you dumbass. And look at you. They took off your video off your YouTube site and suspended you for 7 days, which cost him about $27,000. Guy only lives like about 10 miles away from me, and you just hear things. And plus, he said that on a podcast last week, so it's like his channel is worth a lot of money, apparently.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's just like that stupid show on TV where those guys do dumb shit. I can't remember the name of it right now, but that like they glued that little midget to that guy's chest, and just did stupid stuff. Like dangerous, dumb stuff. And, I'm not, I don't want to do anything dumb. I want to have professionals be able to help me and be able to do it safely because I want to survive, and I don't want to hurt anyone, but that doesn't mean I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So you just have to have common sense and try to do it so that you can have a memory from it. But I can see why those kind of places can actually make a living, and afford to do it because, I mean, I just don't know that many people that would not be interested in doing something on that list, because there's a lot of fun, exciting things on there. So, I would want to do it.
DriveTanks.com.
That would be a fun trip, is be able to go do something like that.
I tell you what, it's a half hour, no, 40 minutes outside of 1604, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check where Uvalde's at, but Uvalde's pretty close to me.
Well, a lot of people hate it nowadays, especially, they don't want anyone to be able to have the right to do those things, but I would just like to do it just so I could say I did it because I'm interested in those things. Mm-hmm. So not a lot of people are, but that every single thing I think that happened when they went to the mansion and went underneath the mansion, the palace or whatever you want to call it, every character down there had an action, a couple of good action scenes where they got to be in a good fight, got to shoot weapons, and got to beat the crap out of somebody. So I thought that whole it seemed like it didn't seem long enough, the whole thing, but it was good. All of it was really good. Even when they got outside, when they blew up the palace and it set everything on fire out there. I thought it was really, really good. I thought it was very exciting. And then you got the fight between Sylvester Stallone and Eric Roberts. His scene with when he's got the woman that Sylvester Stallone wants, and at least she's smart enough to try to help him. In that one scene where she's trying to get away from him, but that whole scene was pretty good. And thank goodness at the very end when that giant knife comes out of that guy's chest. A big bowl knife is what I think it was. Is that what it looked like to you?
It looked like a Bowie knife to me.
Yeah, a Bowie knife. That's what it is. That's every time I hear that, I think of that movie with the Australian guy, Crocodile Dundee.
Okay.
Because that's where the first time I got to see a big knife like that, or heard him talking about it. So that was like my very first time to get to see a giant knife that is so big, as big as my arm, basically, is what at least it looked like. But it wasn't a sword, it was made and it had that weird shape and stuff, but it can definitely chop somebody's arm off. It looks like if you have it sharp enough, with a little effort, you could take someone's arm off or hack their leg off with that giant knife. But
I actually don't like the Bowie knife myself. It's workable, but a Bowie knife is not allowed on a lot of oil field sites because it's considered a quote unquote weapon, even though we all know it's a tool. However, a machete is allowed on oil field sites, as are gherkin knives, which is really weird because those have a front forward, like facing blade to increase the hacking momentum and weight distribution. It's not a balanced knife. You hack with it, and you're going to bury your blade in something.
Yeah.
You can use those two on an oil field site, but Exxon does not like Bowie knives. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but whatever.
Well, that movie that we watched where the guys were in the jungle and they were doing the oil, drilling. A lot of people had those big knives out in the jungle. So there was a few people with knives like that in that movie. So I remember that. So, but so I guess it is a tool. I mean, I've seen lots of videos on YouTube where people are cutting down, cane, bamboo and stuff like that, using those big knives too. So, people do use them as a tool. So I could see why they would put those in as a tool, not a weapon. But it is a weapon and a tool. I mean, I've heard of people being killed with a screwdriver. So what are they going to do? Say all screwdrivers and hammers are now off limits because they're all weapons? Because you pretty much, if you're trained properly, you can use pretty much anything as a weapon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, John Wick's proved that with ink pens and whatever else he can get his hands on.
I'm fucking Benson.
But heck, it's just, I don't know. Some of this stuff is ridiculous. Some of these rules and regulations. I mean, even your hands can be a lethal weapon if you know what you're doing with them.
I'm not that good of a fighter. Like I said, I know enough to where I'll get myself hurt if I try something stupid.
Yeah, I took some classes. My sisters and I had to take judo, and we took was another one. I'm trying to remember what the other thing was. We took some other classes because we would fight all the time, and my mom would make us. She made us take classes so that when we would realize that fighting is for teamwork or whatever type thing, and that one day we would need to defend each other, all of us girls. So I guess once she put us in that, it it took us the fight out of us, or whatever you want to call it, to where we weren't wanting to beat each other up. We could be on a team and, be in tournaments and things like that. So it was fun getting to flip each other and stuff. That was what most of that stuff was teaching us, the right way to flip someone over your shoulder and things. But it was fun. But no, where were we on the movie?
We're discussing the Act 3, because we're walking through the entirety of Garza's palace and dropping plastic explosives everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And then Schwarzenegger gets captured, or not Schwarzenegger, but Stallone gets captured by Payne, and he gets his ass kicked. And I really appreciated that scene, because it looked like he really was getting his ass kicked. And what happened was there was an accident on site. The stunts went wrong on this, and he actually got injured again. He got injured a total. There was 14 recorded accidents on this movie with Sylvester Stallone himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the risk you take as you get older and you try to do, action, where, flipping weapons, swinging, choreographed fights, things like that. You might pull a muscle in your leg or your arm or your back, trying to do some of those things. And if you're using different weapons, to hit each other, clubs or a piece of wood or whatever it is that they're picking up from the ground or whatever to fight with, you risk getting some kind of, pain or bruises or, a splinter, whatever it is. And, any of those things they have to record.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know the medics that were on site for this. I just know that the IMDb trivia says there's 14 different incidences that happened that were recordable to insurance for Sylvester Stallone, because he was unable to do the movie without getting injured. And the worst one was a vertebrae injury he had because of the scene he had with Payne and getting choked from behind, and that really fucked him up, he said. And therefore, whenever he says, "I just got my ass kicked," I really think that is a ad lib that they just kept in through the dailies, and that became part of the movie, because after that, it's like he went to the infirmary, went to get fixed up and looked at, and when they were looking at the footage later, they said that's really a good line.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, just like I said, that was one of the reasons why I thought it was the first time that you got to actually see Sylvester Stallone admit he got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Because like when he was in Rocky and stuff like that, he was like almost invincible, even though he was dripping with blood. His eyes are swelled shut. It was like, how many blows does it take to take somebody out? I mean, because this guy was basically like a piece of meat that you could just beat and beat and beat, and it would just keep coming, So, and that's not reality. Reality is you can only take so much. And then, before you're just a bloody pulp laying there on the ground. So that was nice. It was nice to see that he humbled himself enough to say, yeah, I got my ass kicked. So, and you got to remember too, each one of these characters, these actors, but also fighters or whatever, each had a contract signed. And I'm sure Jason Statham and Stone Cold and them said they would do it for this amount of money, but they had to win, or they couldn't look like, be taken down really easily or whatever. They word these different contracts different ways, just so that they make sure that certain things are done to make sure they still look good, later on, that people are going to say, well, I ain't going to buy any tickets to go see him. He's a wimp, simply because they saw him in a movie, and it's a movie, it's not, like a fight or whatever that he would have been in on TV. But, they all do that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for it, because I didn't, I wasn't involved in any of it or anything. And I didn't really dig deep into what kind of contracts any of them had, but the whole mixture of having all of them was really good. To get to see this collection of different types of action fighters, basically, all in one movie with one goal was to kick some bad guys' asses. So even though they were bad guys, because they were like the that's why they were called the Expendables. You know, they weren't meant to come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When they were sent on their trip, they were nothing, you know, to anybody else except for the cash. So I thought it was great. The premise.
I really like the ending monologue by Eric Roberts, where he's like, "Why the fuck did you come after me? We're the same people, basically. Why are you coming after me? What did they give you? What the fuck
could they possibly have given you? Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was actually really well done. And
yeah, that was a very good scene, because that was his way of showing, you know, you're going through all this shit. You went through all of this shit just to get me. You know, what in the heck could they have possibly gave you that was worth going through all this shit? That's basically what he was saying.
Yeah.
And then Stallone says, "I didn't do it for you. I did it for her."
Yeah.
So, you know, that was a good scene. That really was leading up to that. So he died. He was a real bad guy. So he got to play a really mean asshole. And I'm sure it was fun for him to get to do that character. And he did a good job of being a butthead. Because even I couldn't help it, but I kept calling him Angel Batista the whole time I was watching it this time. The general. Yes. Whose daughter was taken because he was Angel on Dexter. And one of my favorite lines from him on that TV show Dexter was when he said she's got a butterface, and everybody's like, "What's a butterface?" He goes, "Well, she got a damn good body, butterface."
Yeah.
So I couldn't help it. I tried not to put him back into that, but it was like I couldn't help it. It was hard for me to accept him as a bad guy after watching him as Angel Batista for so long on Dexter. So that kept taking me out of it. But I thought he did not too bad job for that. Well, what's so funny?
There's a really bad movie on YouTube for free called Dead or Alive. It's one of Eric Roberts' movies that he used to pay for a mortgage somewhere.
Oh, really?
It's a bad movie. It's a really bad movie. He uses these sunglasses to study all the other fighters' moves, and then he tries to kick their asses because the sunglasses tell him what moves to start using. So it doesn't really go well for him. It's a bad movie. It's a really bad movie. I'm just gonna say that. And he looks in this movie in The Expendables, Eric Roberts looks like he's kind of like on the sequelitis to The Dark Knight. That he's playing a character very close to his Marcone in the Dark Knight movie with Christian Bale, the second Batman movie, the best Batman movie that I've ever watched. And he looks like he's really come into his own as a bad guy in this movie. In the movie Dead or Alive, I don't know how to say it respectably, so I'm just gonna let that statement sit right there. I can't say anything respectable about it. Like, he obviously used it to pay for some bills. That's about it. That's about it.
Honestly, I think every actor that's been in,
Hollywood
as many movies as some of these guys have been in at least one bad movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, this entire casting list has like, hey, what's your worst movie you ever made, Stallone? And he's going to come out with one of 3 or 4 films. Hey, Statham, what's one of your worst movies you made? And he's going to come out with his 3 3 or 4 worst films he's made.
Yeah.
You know, and they all will tell you, like Dolph Lundgren, he only has like 3 or 4 good films. I really like Dolph Lundgren, by the way. That's if you guys want to know, Dolph Lundgren is my easy easy go-to for action movies that are guilty pleasures.
Yeah. Guilty
He's
pleasure action movies.
he's in almost every single one of them, from Scorpion to, wow, I'm drawing a blank now, but Scorpion was the one I remember the most because that had the hind on the cover art, or on the box art at the DVD store. But I would always go to Dolph Lundgren movies, and I mean, he's also in He-Man.
Yeah,
From
I didn't
1987.
see that movie.
Oh, don't say that around me. I'll give that as a homework assignment.
You know, but there was a movie that came out a long time ago, and I can't remember the guy that was in it, but it was called Beastmaster or something. And it was
Mark
like
Singer.
a Conan. Yeah, Mark Singer. I thought it was a great movie. I loved it.
Okay, Shadow and Son and Connell just did a review on it Sunday.
Oh, they did.
On
I'll have
your
to
channel.
watch that because I really liked that movie. I thought it was really good, and I mean, there was a lot of good movies that came out years ago that had, you know, because they had a low budget, they weren't considered worth watching to a lot of people, apparently. But during this whole COVID thing, I have watched so many movies simply because the new stuff is shit. And I have opened up a whole genre of really good movies that were made, that even though they were B-rate, they were still well-made movies. I mean, they had good acting, good story, good character arcs, you know, even the special effects were good. I mean, it's just really sad that some of these movies, when they did come out, they didn't get treated the way they probably should have been, because they were really good. They just couldn't audience right away.
There are some absolute gems out there.
Yeah, except if thanks to streaming. Streaming, I think, is really gonna revive a lot of these older movies, and give them a chance for actually be seen by people, because there's gosh, I don't know how many movies. Since we started doing this together, I've watched quite a few movies that I never would have seen before if you hadn't said, "Hey, I want you to watch this movie." And I watched it, and I was, you know, very impressed by it because the fact that I just never saw it, I was like, "What? How could I not watch this movie before?"
Oh,
And
and
it's
while we're at the hour and 47-minute mark, I'm going to give you your homework assignment for next week, which is True Romance. Nope, not True Romance. It's going to be True Lies, another 1994 movie.
oh, True Lies with Arnold.
Yep.
Oh, great! I'm excited about watching that one.
I love that movie, and it's
Me
another
too. I
1994
loved it.
film. So of course, I'm going to tell us we're going to watch it.
Yeah, it's a good movie though. It's got lots of action in it. It's really good. It's gonna. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I can't wait to watch it again because it's got some
Tom
really good
Arnold's
actors in it.
finest movie.
Who's?
Tom Arnold.
Yeah, that's the only movie I've ever seen that he was good in.
Oh, I've seen all of his movies,
And
and
this is
I
the
mean,
only one that he was good in, and I actually liked his character, and he did a good job. So, yeah, I'm excited about watching it. But yeah, this movie, I thought overall though, this movie was, I thought it was one of the, definitely, if you want to watch an action-packed movie that gets your adrenaline pumping and gets you going, this movie is one of them. So whenever anyone says they want to watch something, you know, a guy movie or whatever, and I'm like, you need to watch Expendables because it's really, really good. It's a good action-packed movie that has, you know, the heroes win too. It's got a happy ending where the good guys win, which I like, and it's got some kick-ass scenes in it when it comes to weapons and things like that. Because I'm telling you that one scene, I just thought it was great. I still think it was a great scene. It just makes me want to go out and shoot that weapon so bad. I'd
I
probably
gave
blow
you,
my eardrums
I've
out.
given you what you need to know, and all you need to do now is just have a good friend at the gun range show you the
Yes.
weapon.
I know, I do. But this is a good movie for you to get you some popcorn, get you some candy, a few beers or whatever it is that you want to drink, and sit back with your friends or your sons or even your daughters. And if you want to watch a good action movie where you can root and hoop and holler for the good guy, this is the movie that you can watch and enjoy it. So I definitely recommend this movie. I think it's a really good, very good movie.
Okay. I uh I don't have such a glowing review of it. It's a good movie. It at the time, this is a product of its time, I think, more than
Mhm.
anything else.
Yeah.
And I think that it wouldn't have made it so well in like 2000 because all these guys were still kind of in their prime making movies, and they would be like offended, like, what do you want us to do with Mickey Rourke? And like Mickey Rourke was just a washed up SOB up until
Yeah.
just a few years ago. When Iron Man 2 came out, that was his new lease on life. He filmed all of the scenes he did, all the one scene he did in one weekend at the boys club in this movie. And that's basically, they had Mickey Rourke for the weekend, and they needed to do some easy to film scenes, and that's why he only had 15 minutes or 15 seconds on the tattoo gun. That's why he only had a few lines, and he had the one girl with him, and then she wasn't with him. But all that shit was filmed within one single weekend, and then
Yeah,
after
I
that,
was gonna
he had to
say.
fly back and do Iron Man 2.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying about some of the scenes where you didn't seem like we got to see certain people enough in the movie, which we could have saw a little more of them in whatever capacity we could have. Was that I thought maybe that each of them probably had contracts already involved in something else, and they were able to, because Sylvester Stallone was a big name, and he asked them, "Hey, I really want you in my movie. Is there any way you can fit me in your schedule and come in and film or whatever?" And I think that they all were, happy to do it. So um, I just think it was. I just thought it was a very interesting uh, pick
Mm-hmm.
by Sylvester Stallone to pick his partner, basically partner in crime for this movie with Jason Statham, because I was surprised by it.
Well, Jason Statham in 2010 was still considered a man on the rise.
Yeah, that's what
He
I'm talking about, though,
did
as
his
a
he,
threat to each other as action heroes, to mix them together.
yeah.
So I just thought it was really interesting. But that is one of the reasons why I went to the movie personally, was because of Jason Statham.
See, Statham did a movie back in 2006 or 2009 called Death Race 2000, which is
Hmm.
a remake of a Sylvester Stallone movie that
Yeah.
nobody remembers. I remember. Shadow remembers. But this is a Death Race is a good 2000 film, but the only thing it really adds to the millennium of the Death Race movies is that Jason Statham shows off his abs. And I believe, is it Epps that tells him this? The actor that plays against him in the movie, Machine Gun Joe, he that actor tells him, like, you got in great shape. You done fucked up. Now you got to show them abs off in every movie you do, and people are going to get, they're going to be critical about this because they want to see that now. And in this
Yeah.
movie, in Death Race, he really shredded up. He was eating cauliflower and tomatoes, and that was about it. And he's like, all I want to do is just go home and eat some pie.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I mean, I could definitely tell that everybody in this movie was in pretty damn good shape for their age.
Yeah.
So they all cared enough about themselves
It's the keto
to
diet.
take the effort to make sure they were in shape and that they were uh, ready for the scenes that they were about to be in with the action role that they were about to jump into. So and that takes discipline. So you could
Mhm.
tell that everyone in this movie uh, was disciplined to a degree to be able to achieve the goal, to be able to fulfill their need as an actor in this movie as for an action. Now the only one that definitely didn't have to eat a certain meal or get up and train or whatever to keep their muscles in shape stuff was Roberts, because he's just gonna wear a suit and just make sure he's got, his pearly whites all ready to go when he's flashing that smile and stuff, or taking his sunglasses on and off, because he really didn't have any kind of, fight scenes or anything like that besides wrestling with a woman. So he didn't really have to put that much effort into that. But everyone else definitely did, and you can tell that they did it. And that made that stood out to me when I was watching it for the details and stuff for the movie. But Stone Cold was impressive. I mean, he looked like he was in tip top form to
Yeah.
me in this movie too. So, you know, it just makes you say, well, damn, do any of these people ever age? You know what I mean? But it was good. And if Sylvester Stallone hadn't had a better person had done his hair and stuff for this movie with the dye job or whatever, I think he would have been phenomenal. I mean, it would have been, um, I don't know, more believable for him to be whatever age he was supposed to be playing in this thing, but you could tell by looking at him that he was definitely older than what his hair was saying he was.
Well, I do want to share real quick. As Belzette says, Stone Cold still had to be careful. His neck is fucked up.
Yeah.
It is. The life of a wrestler. I'm going to
Well,
share.
definitely that one scene where he was holding his throat when he was holding that rope, you could definitely, it really, really looked to me very realistic that he was being choked, because his face was red as a beet and his veins were all popping out on his neck and his forehead. So he was definitely not faking, every aspect of it. I mean, how do you fake that?
This is the filmography for Eric Roberts. Okay.
Mhm.
And I just want to share, if you guys like Eric Roberts, I do like Eric Roberts. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's a good actor.
He's got a lot of items that are in pre-production here.
Mhm.
And here he has the filming items right here. Filming. And now at Alien Vampire Busters, which is in post-production, he starts his post-production resume right here.
That's a lot.
Then we get to the shit that's in scheduled for 2023. Here's
Mhm.
2022. I just wanted to let you guys know that COVID fucked up Hollywood. And Eric Roberts is a fucking barometer of how fucked up Hollywood is and backlogged right now.
Yep. We can sit around and wait for your checks. But he's busy. That's a good thing. That shows he's got a healthy resume, because he's still very active
Yeah. And
in the industry.
Eric Roberts in is this movie here, The Best of the Best 2, which, if you've ever watched this movie, oh, I feel sorry for you. But this is a really bad movie.
So is it as bad as that one movie with Willie's Roadhouse or whatever it was called?
Talking about Willy's Wonderland with Nick Cage.
Yeah, Wendy's. That's it. Oh my God, that was the worst movie I've ever seen. It was horrendous. Oh my God, I couldn't even watch 15. It wasn't even 20 minutes. I couldn't even make it 20 minutes. It was so bad. And I was so embarrassed for him to be in that movie. Everyone that was in the movie, I felt sorry for him, except for the kids. Now, when the kids were in that one scene, that wasn't so bad, but everything else was just horrid. Oh, that was horrible. I'm never gonna ever get over that. That was just, I haven't seen anything so bad. It was the worst thing I've ever seen made into a film. Did you watch the whole movie?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, good. I have some hope for you then, because I was like, oh my God, I remember telling you about it, but it was so terrible.
I watched Red Letter Media talk about it, and I was good.
Well, I made an effort to try to watch it, but oh my, I feel sorry for anyone who makes it through the whole movie.
Hey, Felix, how you doing, bud? Yeah, Willy's Wonderland is a terrible film, and nobody should have to watch that.
Watch The Scientist. Okay, I'll have to look that up. I'm going to write it down real quick because I have never heard of The Scientist, but he says it's pretty bad.
Hey, Cal, we were just talking about Eric Roberts, that's all. I was showing off clips from the bad movie Dead or Alive, where Eric Roberts really does some bad physical acting. But we should probably wrap this up. You love this movie. I like it. I think this film is a product of its time, and in maybe 10 years, we'll look at it and half the crew will be dead. It'll be sad.
Yeah, that'll be sad.
That's like
I did. I really liked it. I would give this movie an 8 for sure. I mean, there was a few things that this were kind of hokey and dumb, but at the time when I first watched it, I would have gave it at least a 9 because I just loved it. I remember leaving the movie theater just pumped up. I just thought it was so exciting, exhilarating, because I love action. You know, I love fighting. I love, kickboxing. I love, swords. I love shooting. I mean, I just love all that type of action. And this movie is loaded with it. I mean, there was, and it gave you a reason and a purpose for them to fight. So, and it had a bunch of good guys in it that are good at fighting. So, to me, it just had everything you needed for this type of movie. It just had lots of action and lots of big explosions, over the top fights. It was really, really good. And the story wasn't too bad. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't too bad. So it was a believable story. So I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it. I recommend other people who like action definitely watch it if they haven't seen it before.
I just, if you like really good fight scenes, you might not like the fight scene with Jason Statham on the basketball court.
Well, I liked it. So
that's just fan service, but it was a poorly shot fight, I felt, and I don't like there's a part of the 2000s where they have these movies where they have a fight scene's edited to shit with fast edits and bad chops and just looks like shit. And then the fight's over and now the narrative continues, but the fight sucked. And you just they did that for years, trying to cut around not having a fight choreographer and not having to pay so much on insurance. It makes me fucking ill whenever I see shit like that. So thank God for John Wick. Thank God for The Raid. Thank God for The Extraction. And for other movies that are actually well done and they have fight cinematography, they have medics on hand. If a stunt goes wrong, that is what I'm fucking watching movies for. I hate watching shit with fast, choppy edits. Sorry.
No, I understand that. Depending on if it was a movie that was more dramatic, more, Oscar nominated type of movie, I would I would expect more from it. And I would expect more and be a little, rougher on it. But this movie wasn't made for anything like that to me. This movie was made purely for the adrenaline rush, uh, uh, hang out and just go watch some people get their ass kicked and watch a bunch of explosions going off and getting to see some, good fights and to see the hero, kick ass. And that's if you go there thinking that, then you're going to enjoy it. But if you go there expecting it to be an Oscar movie, you're definitely not going to be happy with it. So to me, I didn't go there thinking that at all, about what I was going to get out of it. Had to do with Oscar worthiness or, all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. I mean, I just didn't go there with that aspect whatsoever to watch it. So I wasn't let down. I went there expecting to see some badass fights, and that's what I got out of it, and I enjoyed it, especially the scene with the automatic shotgun. I thought that was kick ass, and I've not seen another movie with a shotgun used that way. Uh, that was so phenomenal to me. Um, at least I haven't seen a movie with it. So if anybody does have a movie with another scene like that in it, please tell me so I can watch it. I loved it.
We'll discover other movies that you're gonna fall in love with the hardware. I'm pretty certain.
I will, I bet.
This next week's movie is a perennial favorite around my home, and True Lies is probably the one. No, it's probably one of 4 Schwarzenegger movies I could watch on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Conan the Barbarian, Terminator 2, True Lies. I'm trying to think of his other films. I'm like,
Die Hard.
That's not a Schwarzenegger film.
Oh, I thought you said just action movies, but all right, that makes sense.
True Lies, Conan the Barbarian, Terminator 2, Predator. Those 4 films right there, I could watch infinitely throughout the week, and I'm unable to complain. But Conan, the music for that movie is just the fucking top tier because Basil Podoros knows what he's doing with the money he was given, and he's right. The movie itself isn't quote unquote the greatest, but it's still very fun and good sword and sandals. That's like Eraser was a decent film. Eraser is the movie that saved 1996 for me because you had in '96 there was you had Independence Day and Twister and a bunch of other movies that came out trying to show off special effects technology. And Eraser came out as a fucking back to basics action film with James Caan and Schwarzenegger. And that movie actually was fucking good. That's probably, my dad and I would agree, that was probably our favorite movie and we saw every summer movie in '96. That was like our thing we did. We went and saw movies from '96 to like 2001. And then we got out of that habit because our lives changed a little bit, but that was what we were doing. It's like Twister was good. I could watch that one again. I'm going to pass. It's not that I don't like Twister. I just they really overly relied on CGI for that movie.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to drag everybody off into the sunset. We're dragging the chat with us. Everybody, we'll see you here next week, Monday night. Janet, do you have anything going on whatsoever that we need to know about? What's going on with Janet?
Well, if depending on what's going on with Drew's channel, which I'm gonna have to get on Twitter and send him some messages, stuff to find out what's going on. I'll be doing a show, The United Resistance, tomorrow night on Drew's channel, and then I'll be doing another video, hopefully not as bad as what happened the other day when I did a live stream on accident. I wasn't prepared, but I did a live stream reading my book, and I'll be doing. I'm going to do another reading of my book, another small, bite-sized piece of it, and then my shorts that I've been working on. So that's basically what to look forward to until next week on Monday. Here with you, Bruce.
Well, Thursday night, we're going to be talking about war in a D&D campaign and what you can do with it as a person running the table. Then Saturday, nope, my bad. Sunday, I'll be doing a paint and chill stream. Since Makani's on his time off, I'll be filling in on the interim after 2:45 p.m. on Sundays for about 2 hours. I'll be running a paint and chill channel for that, and I look forward to that because I need to do more painting streams. So I want to say thank you. This was a lot of fun tonight, and I forgot how much fun I had watching The Expendables, which I did have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd forgotten a lot of the movie until I watched it again. That I went, oh, that's right, that's in this movie, stuff. So I just really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to watch it again. It's been a long time, and it's nice to reminisce about a lot of things, and about. It's not just watching the movie, but getting to remember what I was doing and things that were going on in my life when I got to watch them too. So, I just love it. I think it's awesome, and I really like it. We're getting to watch these movies.
This movie here happened right before I did my release of my first novel in 2010. And I was feeling like I was kind of at the top of the world at the time. I really wasn't. I was far from it. But I'd put too much trust in the company I worked for. And I found out, don't do that. So it was right before we pushed out that book. And my books, I enjoy my book writing. I really do. But I need an editor. I found out the 2 books I have could have gone further with an actual editor. So next time I decide to write a book, I'll do that. But my friend Chuck and I went to go see this film, and we were kind of in that moment where Peoria hadn't quite started to collapse yet, but Caterpillar had already made plans to get the fuck out of Peoria, and they had closed all these factories along the Illinois River Valley. Everything is starting to shut down. It's over. So people were already losing their jobs. You already had like 70,000 jobs lost that were paid between $45,000 and $85,000 a year from this major corporation in America, in Illinois. And it was like the first big gut shot that Peoria had. Now, I lived in Decatur before this, and I watched this happen before. And I'm looking in my rearview mirror like, I remember this. And I need to find a way out. And this is about 8 months before I moved to Texas. So that was where I was at as a person. That's just where I was in 2010. I made a mistake. I put too much trust in the company I worked for, and then whenever we got to a shouting match, I'm like, well, fuck you. And
yeah.
You're gone! You're gone! You're gone! And they get their mouths going, and you're like, "Oh wow!"
Well, have you thought about getting your book redone or redoing your book?
I'm not worried about it.
I know, but if it's a good story, you could work on it and just post it online and let people read it.
I actually have 7 chapters or 7 or 8 chapters of it as a playlist on my channel for the first book in the series. And I need to go back and just finish up because there's only like 75 more pages. I just got to read. I just got to read it. That's all I got to do. And I've drug my feet for the past year, and I'm like, fuck it, I need to do this.
Yeah,
so
why
I started
not?
reading through the book again, and I'm okay. When I'm reading through it now I'm seeing like all the real problems I have. But it's a fun book, and we'll see what happens. And if you're still into the idea of being in a game, Janet, if you're still in the idea that might be something that you want to try.
Well, the thing is, I am interested because I'm way open to trying new things. I want to try new things. If you know me pretty well now, I think if you think that I might be able to do it and enjoy myself and not ruin it for everyone else, I'd be more than willing to try and see how I can do it, as long as I can, as people don't realize that I'm starting off, you know what I mean? I haven't done this in like forever.
Don't worry about that. You'll be fine.
Well, see, I worry about stuff like that. I worry about ruining it for everyone else, and I don't want to be that person. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as long as you understand that, you know where I'm coming from, then I trust you.
Listen, I'm getting into the streaming thing now. So apparently I'm in actual fight because I got 1,000 subscribers, so I can lose that any moment. YouTube will just go, Thanos, 300 gone, and I'm like, fuck. So we'll see what happens here, but I'm now in the real game of YouTube, and we'll see what happens. But I'm very much into looking at one. I've got to do a set of one shots with my guys on Thursday. Like all of us, we're going to round robin as a game master to the other 5 of us. And once we get through with that, like I'm still writing some things down and getting things set up for my test. You're on my like short list of people that I'm asking, do you want to be part of this?
Awesome. I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm nervous about it. The more I think about it, the more nervous I get, but
don't be nervous.
I can't help it.
You'll be fine.
Stay calm. Stay calm.
Exactly. You'll be fine. This is we're just gonna lightly get into this. It's a fun endeavor. Gaming has been going on for 49 years now, 48 years, my bad.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna let you're not gonna get away clean. You're gonna play one of these days. So
good. I'm excited about playing. I think it'd be a blast.
Okay. I got a question.
I have a good imagination too. I'm able to picture it in my head. You know what I mean? So while I'm wherever I'm supposed to be, I think I could picture it in my head what I'm supposed to be doing and what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Visualize it. So I don't have that problem.
The thing I was asking is this is just a personal nature thing. Keep the caterpillar or let the caterpillar free?
I don't know. I kind of like it personally.
I'm wondering about this, and I've already heard a few people, like my boss is like, I'll pay you to shave it. And I'm like, yeah, because when you have a mustache, do I like it? I like it for one main reason. My friends can clip me on this video, my face, and then like Sam Elliott, they can make me say other things. And because the caterpillar's here, we don't really know what Bruce said.
Oh, yeah. That's good. I like it. I like a mustache on a man. I think it's very manly. But not everyone can have a mustache. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some men don't look very good with a mustache, but I think you look good with a mustache.
I appreciate that. Everybody in chat saying keep it, but we
But it's you. It's your face. You're the one that has to trim it and brush it and clean it, and you know.
I will tell you all one thing. The moment I'm at work, and if I get splattered with poo, it goes. It's gone.
Yeah.
The eyebrows too. If those,
But what's so funny is everyone I know that you get used to watching them and looking at them every day with a mustache, and all of a sudden they have to shave it off for whatever reason. They have no lip. It looks like you have no upper lip anymore.
yeah,
that once you get past that, then it'd be all right. But yeah, I like you no matter what. But I think it should be more of your choice, what you decide to do. Just like me. I mean, if I decide to do something, I'm just gonna ask people, but more than likely, I'm just gonna do it anyways.
you're gonna do the Janet thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. You know, I'm one of those people though. I like to try stuff. It takes me a little bit of thinking about it, but when I go for it, I go all in. You know what I mean? I dive in head first.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's not a good thing, but oh well. I survived.
Well, everybody that showed up tonight, appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much for listening to me and Janet for the time we were here. We had about like 5 or 7 people here the whole time. Really, thank you. From the bottom recesses of my cold, shadowed heart. Thank you for being here. And I hope we entertained. I hope that we gave you guys something to think about. This movie is popcorn candy. This is a popcorn film. So you're supposed to go into it and just enjoy yourself, because this is back before politics really ruined Hollywood.
Yeah, definitely. It's action-packed fun. That's what it is.
Anyway,
fun size action.
Everybody, thank you.
Good night.